Good evening. Welcome to the City of Lancaster's public meeting on the Combined Sewer Overflow Plan. I'm Christine Volke-Hilditch, Deputy Director of Public Works for Utilities. I'll be presenting this evening the city's progress on the development of the long-term control plan for the combined sewers in the city. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to share our progress on the development of the long-term control plan. In 2018, the city entered a judicial consent decree with the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, and the U.S. Department of Justice to develop a control plan that addresses the overflows from the combined sewers in the city during wet weather. This is our agenda this evening. We will review the city's obligations of the consent decree and the public meetings that we have held to date. Next, we will review the plan that was developed and the major items that are part of the plan. Finally, we will take questions on the plan. This evening, we will attempt to answer them, and if we can't answer them this evening, there will be a detailed addendum that will present the answers to those questions. All of this information will continue to be placed on the city's public participation platform, Engage Lancaster. According to the consent decree, the city must develop an updated long-term control plan. That updated plan must comply with the EPA's combined sewer overflow policy, which requires the city to demonstrate that water quality standards will be achieved in the Conestoga River. Over the past several quality standards can be revised. And that is a long process that must be approved by the regulatory agencies. Longer compliance schedules can be negotiated with the regulatory agencies. And in the end, the long-term control plan that we submit must be approved by the US EPA and the Pennsylvania DEP. I'd like to go over the public participation activities that we've conducted to date. The EPA approved our public participation plan, and 2 public meetings were held in November of 2020 and April of 2025. We've also had an advisory committee that has helped us develop our participation activities. We've had 8 meetings with the advisory committee. And on there, I'd like to thank them again for staying with us throughout this long process. We've had a digital outreach and engagement program. We've used the city website. We've used the platform Engage Lancaster. And we've also provided updates through social media, including Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We've had correspondence on and community engagement events, such as the mayor's neighborhood events, as well as different engagements with the school district and the community. And we continue to have media briefings and press releases. Most recently, we had one announcing this meeting this evening. We've included some pictures of our community engagement events. We've had tabling. We've had litter cleanups, the storm drain murals that are located throughout the city where the little girl is. And we've also had performance art and spoken word activities through the city's river connections. So now I'd like to get into the long-term control plan. And for my own humor, this is the engineering part where your eyes may glaze or cross over. Our plan will be located on Engage Lancaster. We're placing it we expect to place it on the whole report by Monday of next week. But this is the table of contents from our plan, and I'd like to go over very briefly what the plan contains. We'll have an introduction describing the plan, and then we'll detail the obligations that the city faces under the two major federal acts that apply to us as well as all communities across the nation: the Safe Drinking Water Act and the Clean Water Act. The Clean Water Act is what will govern the combined sewer overflow plan, the long-term control plan. We'll review an EPA requirement called the implementation of 9 minimum controls. And these are basic control technologies that are used in our sewer system. We'll characterize our system, how many pump stations we have, the miles of sewer. We'll briefly describe our treatment plant. We'll review the public participation activities that I just went over in the previous slides. And then we'll start getting into the technical part of this plan, the evaluation of alternatives, the financial capability assessment, which is the ability of our customers to pay for the controls on those CSOs. We'll then select and describe the CSO control technology that will enable us to reduce overflows from our combined sewers. We'll end the report with an implementation schedule, what projects we will do, and when we will do them. Last is the post-construction compliance program, as well as details on any revisions we have to existing operation and maintenance plans. Control technologies that we've selected are as follows. And these are at both our wastewater treatment plant, in our conveyance and collection system, our green infrastructure, and some very specific projects. So let's begin. At the Advanced Wastewater Treatment Plant, which is our water reclamation facility on New Danville Pike, we'll be looking at technologies to expand the plant, to employ chlorine disinfection, as well as ongoing maintenance activities to keep our infrastructure in good working order. We have many pumps, tanks, and systems that make up the technology that allows us to treat wastewater. So we have to keep those in good working order. Likewise, in our collection and conveyance system, we have ongoing improvements over the next 20 years to continue to replace and update pump stations, pumps, technologies. We have pipelining and sewer replacement projects in the collection system. In green infrastructure, we have some specific activities in the North Ingleside drainage area, as well as projects in the Stevens and Susquehanna drainage area. And we've discussed our green infrastructure program at our last public meeting. We'll be looking to separate specific sewers. When we separate sewers, we reduce the amount of stormwater that is coming into the sewer system. So that will reduce the combined sewer overflows. Those projects are in Water Street, Duke Street, and in the future, we'll be looking at King Street. Water and Duke Street, we're going to be doing in the next few years. We're also planning for some storage of combined sewerage in the Ingleside Basin, not far off of New Danville Pike. When our technologies were selected and our projects were selected, we looked at various evaluation criteria. These included regulatory compliance. The projects that we select must be in compliance with existing regulations. The water quality impacts, in that we do not want to, we want to ensure that projects we do will not impact the water quality in the Conestoga River. The projects have to be constructible, which means we have to be able to hire contractors that can build them. We want to align with our community objectives, our plans, and of course, we'll be looking at the cost of those projects. So to look at those factors in more detail, the city must continue to be able to maintain its existing critical infrastructure, our drinking water systems, our wastewater systems, and our stormwater systems. We have to be in compliance with all federal and state requirements. The city has numerous permits that guide its activities. We also have future regulations that we're grappling with. Lead service lines, the forever chemicals, PFAS, the Chesapeake Bay nutrient programs. So the city is highly regulated because water and wastewater treatment is essential to life. We look at our city policies. As I said, we have to be in alignment with our comprehensive plan called Our Future Lancaster. And you can find details on that plan on the city's website. And certainly cost is the ability of our customers to afford increased utility fees. This is our implementation schedule and our estimated capital costs. And these are the projects for reducing combined sewer overflows. We continue to do the normal day-to-day activities to maintain our system and to upgrade them over the next 20 to 30 years. That estimated cost is $181 million. These are projects where we line the sewers, where we upgrade pumps in our pump stations, where we update the controls. So these are projects that keep our system going. We continue to invest in green infrastructure, and specifically in the long-term control plan, we're looking at new projects in the Susquehanna and Stevens drainage basins. Ingleside storage, we expect to do over 12 years from now at an estimated capital cost of $25 million. And lastly, the King Street sewer separation further out is $1.2 million. So why are these projects going so far out? We are developing our long-term control plan in an integrated planning format. So we're looking at not only what obligations we have under the Clean Water Act, but also under the Safe Drinking Water Act. So there are many projects and regulations that we must first do in drinking water before we can do all the projects in the sewer system. That doesn't mean that we stop doing work in the sewers. As I mentioned, the day-to-day, the continuing update to maintain our system in good working order require us to continue to infuse capital money. The city has dedicated resources to green infrastructure. And you will find this particular table within our long-term control plan. It's table 8-2. And we look at the benefits of green infrastructure and why we continue to do it and how important it is. So you will see this particular table within the project looking at the benefits that the city garners from installing green infrastructure. Additional co-benefits include reducing the urban heat island effect. So how hot it's been recently is the more trees we have and the more green infrastructure we have, we can reduce that urban heat island. Increasing property values, reduced noise pollution, increased recreational opportunities, habitat improvement, public education, and community cohesion. These are all discussed in our report. The long-term control plan also requires the city to implement a post-construction compliance program. We have ongoing monitoring that is required by the permit that allows us to discharge into the Conestoga River. This requires us to keep records on how much we discharge, as well as how much we overflow at the specific CSO points. We have ongoing monitoring requirements of our green infrastructure, requiring us to report on how much stormwater we've reduced, where projects are planned, and where they've already been completed. And all those projects need to be continued to be maintained and monitored. And we will also be reporting on any of the projects that we've developed as part of this long-term control plan. All this information goes into receiving water monitoring reports as well as modeling. We have a model of how our source system acts and how it will discharge depending on the type of storms that occur. So all this information continues to help us maintain those water quality models. The plan also has an operations and maintenance plan. So these are the requirements of a plan. We have standard operating procedures so that all our operators operate the plant in the same way and respond to changing conditions and flow in the same way. It helps us standardize how we do things. We have an O&M manual library. All those pumps and tanks and control systems all come with manuals. We have a work order management system that helps us keep track of the maintenance that we do on these systems, ensuring that from the simple things, we change the oil to when we're going to reline tanks. In our stormwater program, in the MS4, we also maintain maps and SOPs on how we conduct our stormwater regulatory activities. And lastly, we have an O&M green infrastructure plan that helps us, again, helps inform how we are going to conduct maintenance for the green infrastructure. So that concludes my presentation this evening. We are accepting comments on the plan. As I mentioned, the plan will be posted no later than Monday, August 4th on the Engage platform. This is our website, and you can also submit comments via email at ltcpcomments@cityoflancasterpa.gov. This presentation will also be posted so that if you didn't get all those links, you can refer to them later. So I want to thank you for your kind attention this evening. And if there are any comments, we'll attempt to answer them. And if there are not, we will answer them later in written form. Thank you again.
So if anyone has any questions, feel free to use the Q&A function within Zoom. We did have one question, which was, is the plan currently on Engage and Lancaster, or will it be online in the near future? I already answered that in writing, that it would be posted early next week. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to use the Q&A. How long will comments be accepted?
For the next 30 days. So when we post it on Monday, we will take comments 30 days from that Monday.
Last call for Q&A. Okay.
Thank you again. Good evening.